Fourth step?
Yes, sir.
Continue. Yes. Somebody said resentment. Who was it? Oh, Michael. Okay. So I noticed we have one person, two people actually identify as being new. How many people have done an inventory? How many people have never done inventory? How many people don't think they ever want to do inventory? And how many people think you don't need to do an inventory? You know, and don't get bullied in a meeting because I can't tell the truth because they're going to look down on me and laugh at me, because there was some laughing right there. Trust me, it's a lot of people in Alcoholics Anonymous who don't feel the need to do inventory. You know, and why do it anyway? Most of you guys raise your hand, so most of you have probably already attempted that fact-finding and fact-facing deal that we talk about. But to our new friends and to the people who haven't written an inventory, I was 33 when I made it to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and that was October of 1986. And I started going to meetings. That was my fourth time coming to the program. Don't know if the couple of people who identified as new as well as the people who didn't identify as new are new newcomers or used newcomers, but you know, I identify with that. And this last time when I came back to the program for real, which was the only time I've done this thing for real, you know, I was what we like to call sweetly reasonable. The last time I relapsed, first time I made a real attempt at this was August of 1985. Series of misadventures, reservations. The idea that if I'm sober, first I had the idea that maybe I'm not a real alcoholic. Because if you're the alcoholic of my variety that did a lot of stuff, I did a lot of drugs, it'll obscure the fact that I have a physical allergy to alcohol. And it'll make me believe I don't. And as a result of coming in here a couple of times and relapsing off a Long Island iced tea, which I thought couldn't hurt me, and I got a real understanding of my condition, because that Long Island iced tea propelled me into an 11-month run. And I came back in October 1986, started going to meetings on a regular basis. I went through the Harbor Light Center. Then I started going to meetings when I was in there. And I started going to meetings, and I was talking to somebody the other day, and I've been removed enough from the last one that sometimes I have a blind spot when it comes to new people. Sometimes I have a blind spot when I come to just really what it is we're wrestling with. One of our forward to the first edition says, many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And among the many who don't comprehend it is the alcoholic himself. And if you work with people, and if you sponsor people, you might hear yourself sometimes saying, what were they thinking? How could they? Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And so when I came into the rooms, I tend to forget the struggle to embrace adulthood and being grown every day. We were at my workshop Sunday morning, and we were very early, and we were talking about alcoholic torture and what people have lost. And we had a member that talked about, I didn't lose a lot in the sense of not having had a lot, but she had never had anything because she started getting loaded really early. And she talked about We talked about that part in the book where it talks about the problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult to solve. And she said, well, her problems don't become astonishingly difficult to solve when she's out there. It's only when she's sober. And that's the case for everybody. People like me and you, I get loaded and I try to stay loaded because I'm scared of responsibility is big and responsibility is heavy. I remember driving along at 5 years sober one day, and I was just driving. I don't know what put me in a space. And I saw a guy pushing a cart, and I envied him. I envied him because it looked like he didn't have anything to worry about. It looked like he didn't have anything on it. Is anybody in here worried about something right now? Anybody in here this close to being depressed about something right now? I'm going to ask you guys indulgence too, because this piece right here, I'm really not saying it out of humor. I'm saying it out of real life with real people. You guys just lost a member of this group. And there is a family connected to that loss that feels it real deep. Feeling loss and feeling hurt and feeling resentment and feeling pain is not something I entertain, and it's not something I like. So this idea of recovery, this idea of what it costs to do this thing, sometimes, I like I say, I've been doing this a while. God does his work anonymously, and I sometimes forget. The challenges this face. So I start doing this deal, and I start going to meetings. And if you go to enough meetings, especially if you go to a hall like this one, they do a lot of talking about the Big Book Alcoholics Anonymous. And they do a lot of talking about the 12 steps of recovery. I'm a guy who likes to fit in, so I start wanting to find out about it, and I get into it. And for me, we started a workshop at my mom's house when I was about 16 months sober, my brother and I. And that was in November of 1987. So I was a little over a year. I was a year and a month sober. And we started going through the Big Book Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not one, I have a sponsor who says you don't treat a spiritual condition through mechanical means. So I suffer from an illness that only a spiritual experience can conquer. I believe that. And the reason I believe it is because I tried every other experience. I tried falling in love. I tried being a workaholic. I tried making money. I tried hustling. I tried physical exercise. I tried self-knowledge. I tried fear. I tried a lot of stuff. And none of it kept it away from me. I suffer from an illness that only a spiritual experience can conquer. And once I wrapped my head around that, sort of reluctantly, I didn't come up in here walking toward recovery. I came in here running from the life. I didn't know what was waiting on me in recovery, but I knew what was waiting on me in the life. And I was 33 years old, and I was tired of losing. And you kind of have to really be tired of losing to face recovery. There's a lot of women in here that say, I want my kids back, and then you get them. And then I realized, and it's the dirty secret that people like me and you share, because for real, I want to be a daddy. And for real, I want to be a mom. But when I'm in the life, I don't even want to look at it for myself, but it's kind of a relief when somebody take them kids. Because they're in the way. It's kind of a relief when she finally put me out, because now I don't have to hear her mouth. It's kind of a relief. No, I don't like it when the boss give me that last check, but it's kind of a relief, because it's becoming more and more difficult for me to show up at this spot every day anyway. So then I enter back into this land of the living you guys introduced me to. And we have a prescription. Don't look appetizing for a guy like me at first. I suffer from an illness that only a spirit. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to take this medicine you guys are offering because I think I know what it looked like. And I think it means the death of some stuff in me that I don't want to die. I kind of like this being irresponsible thing. I kind of like not having to show up and keep my word. I kind of like that. I don't like what comes with it. And that's why surrender is so important. So I got on my knees at a certain point because I was tired of losing. And when we get on our knees and do the third step, it says this decision I made in the third step can have little permanent effect unless it once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in me that's blocking me. What the hell does that mean? That means that as much as I can want to turn over a new leaf, as much as I can want to become a participant in this way of life with you guys, I don't have the power to do it. That's why you hear people say, I turn it over, I take it back. I turn it over, I take it back. I turn it over, I take it back. What do I do to stop doing that? Follow the prescription. Steps 4 through 9. And the reason I talk about inventory and the reason I talk about resentment inventory, which we're going to talk about right now, is not just because it's what we do so that you guys can invite me to come out and I can get a lot of head claps and say, damn, that dude really know what he's talking about in a 4-step. I got some information. People generally like to hear the information. But more than having information, what I like is, and nobody else knows it, nobody else have to know it, but somewhere, somehow, somewhere in this 30-year journey of mine, I've been transformed. I've been transformed. So fellas, if you're sitting in here waiting to hear the mechanics of why it is we do this, I'm going to share something with you. Share something with you, ladies. The reason I do what it is that we do, and I talk about this inventory so tough, is because life shows up and I've been able to show up for it. As I'm sitting here and I guess I'm feeling some kind of way because I'm talking to my daughter. I got a 34-year-old daughter who was 2 when I got sober. I used to go in her piggy bank. She's now giving me a grandson. She's a wife. She's a mom. She's an attorney, professional lady. And she just put a dog down. And when she has that kind of pain that she's going through, she got a daddy that she can turn to. That blows me away still. I always wanted to be that guy. But if you come from the places we come from, I was always the next year dad. Not a long time, because my daughter was 2 when I got sober. So I do this deal because when we do the third step, it talks about, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Here's where it's the bait and switch moment. And I know I didn't come here to do the third, but I want to hip you to something. Some of the tricks that's in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Some of the stuff Bill don't disclose, but he sucked you in. Here's a bait and switch. First bait and switch moment. Third step. It said, I offer myself to build with me and do with me. Relieve me of the bondage of self. Who came in here to be relieved of bondage of self? I didn't sign up for that. I came in here to stop getting loaded, right? I came in here to get the bottle out of my mouth. I came in here to get the rest of this stuff. What part of the game is that? Where did that come up? Relieve me of the whole deal. Once I get out of surrender, once I get out of the problem, which is step 1, once I get into the solution, which is step 3, and once I get into the 10-step program of action to get to that solution, changes. We ain't even going to talk about alcohol no more. Now we're going to talk about the real deal. Bondage of self. What is it about Ralph White that stands in the way of him standing up in life and facing life as a grown-ass man. The easiest thing to say, fellas, and every newcomer says it, I'm a grown-ass man, can't tell me nothing. Don't have a driver's license, don't have a pot to piss in, don't have the ability to stand up and do it, but I'm a grown-ass man. But as a result of practicing this program, and as a result of doing some things, so I embark on this, and I embark on it because I want something different. I embark on it because I want to be different. I embark on it not because I want to have a lot of information. I embark on it because I want to get the transformation. Why would I want to get the transformation? Because I've seen it happen. I've seen men and women transform. I've seen them able to stand up in their life. It don't mean I'm going to go through this recovery deal problem-free. It don't mean I'm going to go through this recovery deal worry-free. It don't mean I'm going to go through this recovery deal and I'm going to get everything I want. When I get on my knees in that thirst, matter of fact, sometime I'll be doing this whole idea of prayer. Let me get into this, and then we're going to keep talking about that. So this deal about inventory. Why would I take an inventory anyway? Because I've never looked at my life before. I don't look at life. I let it come at me. I react to it. I react badly to it. I trip about it. I complain about it. I get defeated and dominated by it. But I don't look at it. And so for the first time now, when I embark on this deal, relieve me of the bondage of self, because it's too much me on me, and I need this power, right? But I'm between me and the power. It's too much me on me. So now I embark on the looking. So inventory, the first thing about inventory, fact finding and fact facing, is looking. I don't want to look. I'm scared to look. Don't look. Just because I don't look don't mean shit ain't there. It just mean I ain't looking at it. Being convinced that my life run on my will could hardly be a success. If I'm convinced that my life run on my will is successful, don't do inventory. But if I'm tired of running into the same walls, if I'm tired, check this out. This is an ego-reducing process, this 12-step process, right? But my ego wants to live. And my ego will do everything in its power to live. But this process will do it for me because I can't do it for myself. But I'm going to let you in on a secret while your ego is alive, because this ego reduction, it ain't going to never be gone. Ain't going to never be gone. So let my ego work for me in this area. Am I tired of letting every one of the rest of you guys run my life? Am I tired of letting people, some of whom I could care less about, dominate my life? Which people are those, Ralph? Write them down. Write them down. First thing to do in resentment inventory, I don't know who it is. Write about the people. Write about, Mike's sponsor has a good way of looking. Write about the stupid people. All the people you know that do stupid shit to you. All the people who I know that just say the stupid, that piss me off. Write them down. Why am I going to do this inventory? It's effort to face and be rid of the things in me that's blocking me from this spirit. I don't want to be. I don't necessarily want a relationship with this power. Okay. Do it anyway. Do I want to keep a relationship with drugs and alcohol? I don't need a higher power. I already got one. We call it alcohol, king alcohol. I need a power greater than it. So I started on this deal. And inventory is fun for me because it allows me to first off start with my favorite subject, me. It's a treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt. And the treasure is I'm going to be introduced to somebody that I don't know. The thing about resentments, first, I don't know what they are. I think I know what they are. And I don't know how deadly they are, and I really don't know how much they dominate my life. And so we start putting them on paper. You know, I was in the car, and I happened to be driving with some stuff. I have done, we just gonna go stream of consciousness tonight, because that's the kind of place I'm in. So I'm gonna talk about inventory, and I'm gonna talk about resentment inventory, and I'm gonna talk about some of the mechanics of it. And I happened to be driving around, and I had in the car, because I was doing some stuff with some people, one of my old inventories. Now, one of the questions that you might have if you were doing this is, how many inventories? Should you only write one inventory in your recovery? I've been sober, like I said, 30 years, and in my time in recovery, I've probably written at least 18 inventories. Should you? I don't know. You don't have to. I'm in a workshop with a group of people. We do inventory every year. I do it with the group. I like looking. I don't see a problem with cleaning a clean house, but there might be a problem with not cleaning a dirty house. Because the cold thing about cleaning a clean house, you might think, you ever buy tomatoes? Everybody in there know about tomatoes, right? You could buy 6 of them. Put them in the refrigerator. What if one of them is rotten and you don't look and take it out of there? What's going to happen to the other 5? What's going to happen? They're going to turn rotten because of the one. Same thing with my thinking. Same thing with resentments. I might be running around now. I've been doing this a long time. I don't cop resentments, and I just be sitting up here and I don't look. And I don't look. I don't look. Next thing you know, we standing in the parking lot. I don't like the way Mike said something to me, and I can't help it. It comes out of me, and now I start talking shit about Mike to you. And the cold thing about me, when I start down that path, when I do one of anything, I can't take the first hit of gossip. I can't take the first hit of character assassination. We talk about anger being the dubious luxury of normal men. That means it's questionable that they can even afford it. A cat like me, I can't handle. I'm unqualified to handle it. I'm unqualified to handle it. I bring a nuclear arsenal to something that requires a fly swatter. I do scorched earth. So in the course of, in looking at that, the reason I brought that up is because I happen to have some old inventories with me, and I'm probably read some, because to me the best way to talk about something is not to talk about it in the abstract, but to do some real stuff with it. And I'm going to share inventory tonight. I'm going to share a resentment inventory, the way it looks, the way I do it in my life, the way it has shown up in my life, and the benefits I've got from it. I started doing my first inventory I did was when I was, like I said, about 1 year and 3 months old. You know, and I started doing inventory because it's what we do. I learned some things when I started doing that inventory. I learned one of the unintended consequences. There are some unintended consequences with everything we do. And one of the unintended consequences that I didn't know about was once I did an inventory, I felt like I was in the game. I felt like I was in the game for real. Because I'm such a perpetrator, right? I am such I am a manipulative guy, and I'm the kind of guy that acts like something is, okay, because that's what I do. I'm not necessarily I'm the image guy. I'm what I make you believe about me. And I bullshitted myself so long when I came into recovery, I didn't know if I had the capacity to be honest with myself. And this is one of the things that'll let you know that Alcoholics Anonymous really works. I'm the kind of person, if it ain't in my experience, I think you lying about it being yours. And for some reason, when I wrote an inventory and shared it with somebody, I really started believing that people really do inventories. There's somebody in here that probably thinks, and you may not have raised your hand, they ain't really doing that. They talk about these steps in the room, but somebody really tell me what y'all really do. I want the Cliff Notes version. I don't want. Yeah, I know for public consumption, because you're a speaker, you have to talk about these steps. But tell me the real secret. I don't want to have to do all that writing shit. Just tell me what to do. Somebody really believes that. Well, when I wrote Inventory, I really believed in the program Alcoholics Anonymous, and I felt like I was in the game. I felt like I was in recovery instead of pretending I was in recovery. I felt like I was really, for the first time, committed to this thing instead of just acting like I was committed to it. And so I started doing it. I did it exactly like it's outlined in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. You'll hear some people talk about they write inventory and then they burn it. Anybody ever do that? Anybody ever burn your inventory? Number one, I got too much ego. Anybody think I invest that much time and work, I ain't burning it. I'm keeping my stuff. And then I'm going to share something else with you guys that you may not know on the front end. Nobody had said it to me, and maybe it wasn't. And this isn't from the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is just from practically working with people. Don't burn it, because that's going to be a valuable tool for you to use to share with somebody. When it's time for you to talk to a sponsee or somebody you're working with about inventory, it's a whole lot easier to show it than to say it. It's a whole lot easier. Practical reasons. First inventory I wrote it in a binder like this. I still write them in binders like this. I think that first inventory I might have had about, in fact, this is my first inventory binder, and it's falling apart. I write inventory. So first, for people who don't know, we have 3 inventories that we write that are from the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Resentment inventory, fear inventory, and sex conduct inventory. Resentment is the number one offender according to what Bill writes. It has the power to kill more alcoholics than anybody else. So we look at the common manifestations of self, the way that Ralph shows up in life, in his interactions with other people. And the 3 ways that we look at, if I look at those ways, it'll clear the ground the most between what blocks me from this power that I need this relationship with. So I look at my resentments, my fears, and my sex conduct. And resentment is a cold separator. Resentment fuels most of these others. It said from it stems all forms of other spiritual diseases. So I put them on paper. Whether I believe it or not, I put them on paper. Ralph, who do you put on paper? People I'm pissed off at, people who did something to me, people who hurt me, people who offended me. Ralph, how far back do you go? I go back as far as I can remember. I went back as early as I could. Ralph, what names do you put? Do you not put names? I don't censor and I don't edit. If the name comes up, I write it down on a piece of paper. I don't look at it. I don't look at it as if I can't read that to somebody. When I'm doing a 4th step, that's the only step I'm on. I don't think about the 5th step. When I write a resentment inventory, I just write the names, and I write them, and I write them, and I write them. Then I start doing the first, second column. I write a name down. When I start, for me, it's helpful not to do the hard ones first. Your wife, your mom. I do some of the easy ones so I can knock them out. I had a boss who fired me. His name was Kiyo Fukumoto. Kiyo. What was the cause? Number 1, he fired me. Number 2, he lied about me. Bam. That's it. That's all. Very short, concise sentences. If I have to put an and or if I have to put a but, I'm probably adding another resentment to it. He fired me and he lied about me. No. Number 1, he fired me. 2, he lied about me. I don't do redundant resentments. He owes me money and he didn't pay me back. Same resentment. I don't write a story and I don't state my case when I write the cause of my resentment. He knew he owed me that money, and when he came in the meeting, he tried to avoid me and he wouldn't even talk to me. And now I got to chase him down for the money that he owed me, and that ain't right. Owes me money. I'm already building my case for it. Owes me money. That's how I know. Short, succinct, get to the point with the cause. That'll keep me focused also. I get to the point with the cause. Third column, what part of me? I don't have to create them. I use 7 areas of self. I happen to have some stuff in me here. I don't usually like handing stuff out because I don't have a way to do inventory. I have a way that I do inventory. And I'm always open to the way other people do inventory.